Hi there, I'm Lee and welcome to iMineBlocks. So this video is going to be an update video for you guys. I've not put out any content for quite some time, so I just want to give you guys a quick catch up of things that have been happening here, what I've been up to, and just give you a general sort of update of things going on, things happening in my little world. So one of the big things that I've sort of done recently amongst the crypto mining sort of efforts, if you like, is I've actually decided to quit Burstcoin mining. So this is something that I mentioned that I was considering way back. I think it was around December or January time. I did put out a video at that point. The Burstcoin earnings sort of went down dramatically and I was considering it back then. So since that time, we're now sort of 9-10 months past that period of time, and the market, the Burstcoin market, as in the price of Burstcoin, hasn't changed very much. In fact, it's only continued to go down over this past year. So what that's meant for me as a miner is that it's not been profitable probably for about 5 or 6 months now, something like that. When I checked my Burstcoin earnings, and this is going back a month, so really sort of September time, did a calculation, so I had just over 100 terabytes of capacity on the network, and I made around $25, and that's gross, not profit. So that's just revenue, $25 revenue. When we take out my electricity costs, which is roughly about $25 for that Burstcoin miner, you end up with a big fat zero. And you know, month after month, that's pretty depressing. Sometimes I have mined in the past projects that I do believe in, and I think I've got good potential. And so sometimes I'm willing to kind of take the hit for a short period of time until things kind of level out. But there's quite a lot of differences for me with Burstcoin. So I just want to kind of explain the setup and why I've, you know, a bit more detailed of why I chose what I've done effectively. So with regards to the profits and the earnings, with Burstcoin, I had roughly a couple of $1,000s in hard drives. You guys know I've got all the details on my previous videos, but a couple of $1,000s worth of hardware. And when that's making literally nothing month over month, and there's so many other opportunities or even really simple, basic ways to make money. You know, I'd make more money just by having that money in the bank, earning, you know, just a couple of % interest. So when I'm comparing to other things like that, it just kind of got to a point where I thought that the money or the capital that's in those hard drives would be best used elsewhere. So that was one of the primary factors. One of the other things is that some people will say, well, you know, if you're not going to mine, or it's not profitable to mine, then you can be better off selling the hardware and putting that money into the coin that you wasn't mining originally. So that was another option for me. But for me personally, I already hold a fair bit of Burstcoin anyway, so I really didn't want to be purchasing more Burstcoin to hold it for the future, although that's something that might change as time goes on. So I didn't really want to sort of, you know, take the money from the hardware and then re-put it back into the coin, because I'm already holding Burstcoin, so that wasn't really an option for me. So I decided to sell those hard drives for cash, and then I've put that cash into other things. A couple of the other contributing factors of why I decided to kind of quit Burstcoin. So I've said about the declining price over time. So that's been kind of a real disappointment for me, and it's not because I don't like the Burstcoin project. I really do like the project. I think it's got lots of great potential. The low power usage, proof of work, and so many other benefits. And there's so many other new developments that have been onto the Burstcoin network with the POC consortium, all the work that they've been doing. It's been truly amazing. They've been really working hard, putting time and effort in. But it's like not the Burstcoin community, but the whole crypto community in general hasn't really embraced Burstcoin. They just kind of, I don't know, it just seems to be all this work and all this effort's been done, and it's just not really, I don't know, it's not really coming to fruition, at least at the moment. So I think it's kind of a delayed response. I think next year we'll probably see a lot more growth in terms of like the market share and market price within Burstcoin, but at the moment it just feels like there's all this work sort of going on and there's just not really anything happening. So that's kind of disappointing. But I do think in the future there will be more growth. But for me right now, I think it's just the best use of those resources for me can be used better elsewhere for the time being. So that's where I am with Burstcoin. So it's still an interesting project, and I think it has got a bright future, but it might take a year or maybe longer for those results really to show through. And like I say, I'm still holding Burstcoin. I've still got quite a few thousand Burst, so I'm still holding those. I'm not selling out of those. I will hold those for the future. So really it's just a redeployment of the hardware. One other thing that I wanted to say with the hardware as well, before getting into Burst, one of the other projects that I was really interested in was Storj. And there was a few others, also MadeSafe and Siacoin. You guys are probably familiar with those projects. So originally when I sort of started buying the hard drives, I thought that hardware could be better deployed amongst a range of crypto coins, not specifically just Burstcoin. But those other projects like Siacoin, it's really GPU mining and now ASIC mining. So the renting your storage space isn't really an option for that. Same for Storj, it's literally earning pennies. Your capacity is not getting deployed, or it's not being utilized. So you're not really earning very much on that. And MadeSafe, I never really looked into it in more great detail, but I'm not too sure how you put your hardware onto the network for MadeSafe. So those other kind of crypto projects didn't really materialize either. So having just that hardware kind of sitting there, I mean, there is other sort of options that I also considered. I was even considering setting up like a cloud sort of storage service and things like that, but there's extra complications, and again I don't really think the money is there. So these are all kind of contributing factors to why I decided to sell that hardware. On the sort of the positive side of things, I did get quite a good price for the hardware. So when I purchased most of my hard drives, the kind of retail price, or the price that I was roughly getting, was about £25 per terabyte. And when I've sold them, I've got between sort of 2/3 to 3/4 of my money back on each of the hard drives. So I think the 8 terabyte drives, the Lacy drives, went for about 150. I think when I bought them, I paid about £200 for them. And the Toshiba drives and the Seagates went between sort of 70 and 90 for the 5 terabyte drives. So quite good money back on those. But that's also one of the things I was expecting. When I originally done my sort of calculations for whether this was a worthy venture, I knew that the depreciation of hard drives is quite predictable, and it falls off much slower than, say, graphics cards or CPUs. So for those guys that have got hard drives, and if it's not really making any money, don't worry too much, because like I said, they don't depreciate quite as fast as other assets. So you've got plenty of time to make a well-informed decision. So that's kind of the wrap up of Burstcoin, what's happening with that, and where am I going forward, or what opportunities I'm looking at from here on. So I've been really focusing on my business and not so much on crypto, obviously because the profits are very low and it's kind of much more difficult to get motivated if you're not really making any money. I'm still continuing mostly to mine Ethereum with all my GPU mining rigs. They're all pretty much the same. I've just been kind of running them in more of a kind of low power mode, or rather than a performance mode. So just trying to get really the best efficiency as possible from those GPU mining rigs. They are roughly making around about $200 a month, but barely sort of breaking even really on those. I did also switch electricity suppliers. I'm now with a UK company called Bulb. I'll put a link in the description if any of you guys want to switch from your current supplier over to them. And they had really good rates, although the rates have just sort of slightly changed again. A little bit disappointing, but it's better than my previous provider, which is OVO Energy. So the electricity is kind of covered. It's a lot cheaper. It's kind of helping out, but it's not quite there. So seeing as the kind of the proof of work mining isn't really doing all that great at the moment, I have been looking at other things. So I've retaken a look at a lot of the proof of stake coins that I had and held. And over this sort of the next few months, I'm probably going to increase my positions on those coins. So there's a couple that kind of come to mind. There's like 4 main ones. So one is called Bulwark, that's BULWARK. PivX is another, Stratis and Nexus. So those 4 coins I'm really quite interested in, and it's because mostly around the proof of stake, you can kind of hold the coins in your wallet and get reasonable earnings just by staking. So looking at those as a potential source of income, although it will be a very tiny amount. But seeing as the coins are currently depressed in terms of price, there's a good opportunity for those prices to increase in the future. So they're kind of a couple of plays I'm playing on proof of stake. I'm still doing quite well with the Akroma masternode. You guys would have seen my setup video on that, and that's been running for a couple of months now, and that kind of is consistently playing it out each month. I'm not too sure exactly what the earnings are off the top of my head, but when I do check in on that, the masternode is still running and it's still sort of paying out. So I'm considering setting up probably a second Akroma masternode. There hasn't been any other ones that I've seen that have really kind of sparked my interest. There's lots of good ones, but some of them are really expensive to get into. You can do like shares and things like that, but it's just kind of, for me, it's the where am I going to spend my time and effort and money, resources most effectively. So I like to do some things that are quite simple, obviously don't take too much time, and obviously pay good returns. So that's a few of the things that I'm doing at the moment. From this point onwards, I say this time and time again, and it's disappointing even to myself, but it's just having the time to make these videos and get them produced and get them out. But I am going to make a determined effort to get more content out to you guys, because I think you deserve it. I do enjoy making the videos, and it's great interacting with the community. It's just kind of balancing work life, business and all that kind of stuff, and also home life with the little boy around and all that sort of stuff. It keeps things busy at home as well, so it's just trying to juggle and balance all those out. But I will try my best to get more content created for you guys soon. So that's it really for this video. I know it's been a bit of a ramble on, but I just wanted to at least put something out there and just kind of like reconnect with you guys. So please let me know what you're doing in the comments, what things you've been working on, what things have been working or not working for you guys. Let me know in the comments, and just be great to retouch base with you and get some re-interaction going, and hopefully we'll see some more content soon. Okay, I'll leave it there. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video.